Praying on this gospel this morning, I remembered, and if you get a chance to look it up, it's quite crazy, but when the Mongols started invading Europe and quite literally just killing everyone, no one was clear who they were or where they had come from. And so the Pope wrote a letter to Genghis Khan, and you can read it. And it was about this long, and it starts off with a brief 3,000-page summary of Christianity. And a lot of people say, the big problem was that letter went from Latin to Italian to French to a Slavic language we've lost to another language, then into a language Genghis Khan could read. But if you read it, it's completely incomprehensible, and you and I know this stuff. But then what part is really clear is the last paragraph, which is what the purpose of the whole letter, which is, what are you doing? Stop it. You're killing all these people. And you can again read the reply back. He wrote back and said, well, you believe in God. I believe in God. If he didn't want me to rule the world, he would have stopped me by now. And that was kind of the end of the dialogue. This is quite literal. Oh, God did stop him, by the way. He died a year later. But here's the thing. Jesus is talking to the religious leaders of the day, and their theology is very, very good. But Jesus' point is pretty simple. I'm saying things that challenge you, but now look at what I'm doing. If what I'm doing is from God, namely healing the sick, driving out demons, feeding the hungry, if I'm doing these things, it should tell you that my challenge to you is true. But their pride just couldn't deal with it. They had their understanding of God, and Jesus was ruining it. But there was a whole bunch of people, we learned, who looked at what Jesus did and went, he couldn't do that if he wasn't who he says he is. This is a really important thing for us as Christians to remember. And I went to a secular college, and I always joke that if you're a practicing Catholic in a secular college, it tends to mean the Protestant ministries want to convert you, the atheists are angry, nobody likes you, And I tried debating and arguing, and I had many fine arguments, and I don't know if any of them worked. But I do know a couple things that worked, is that the church that was right near the university, if you needed help, you could go there and get help. If you needed food, they got you food. If you needed a place to stay, the church often had kids sleeping in it overnight. And back then they didn't have all the fancy stuff they have now, You remember those days, ramen noodles was breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But all this to say, that did a lot of good. For you and me, we believe. I pray, if we don't believe, what are we doing here? But if that belief doesn't translate into us serving and helping, and if our example isn't better, no one will believe us. Today we're challenged by this Eucharist to receive it. Yes, please, receive it. But let it get in there and make a mess. Let it get in there and compel us to be different, to be selfless, to be willing to sacrifice, and to serve like Jesus served. Amen?